Now, the coronavirus pandemic remains a huge threat to food security in Nigeria. Government has put in place interventions targeted at 2 million farmers to drive greater food production. Local farmers still dealing with the impact of the pandemic and lockdown on their businesses seek to benefit from the scheme as the nation looks to a post-COVID-19 agriculture plan. All right, John Akirile, agricultural expert and entrepreneur, joins me now on Skype. John, good morning. It's good to have you join me now. Now, when it comes to, thank you. When it comes to effort at boosting agriculture, it's something that has been on for decades, and everyone looks forward to that sufficiency and that adequacy where there can be security of food. But talk to us basically, there has been so many different schemes from the federal government, from the federal ministry of, from the CBN, from the federal ministry of agriculture, and different international partners bringing on different programs. What impact has all of these ones have on the chain generally and ensuring that there's food security?
Thank you very much. I think we should look at it from this angle where we have issues of food shortage as a result of food crisis. But the government has responded in a very positive way, looking at efforts from other clans in terms of giving funds, seedlings, and interventions. I can assure you, recently, another money was actually earmarked for rice plantation covering about 6 states. And that's about 600 billion naira was actually given. But the problem I have with this kind of funds is that it does not really get down to the farmer. Mike, if you should go back to the history and check your archives, you keep hearing loads and loads of millions and billions of naira dollars to the agricultural sector, and yet over the years, the money you calculate and the evidence you are seeing does not correlate in any angle. So for me, I think that the government of today should be more sincere in actually giving out this fund, not only on paper, but to make sure that people feel the effect of having this fund disbursed to them, disburse this money to the real farmers. It's a good one for them that they are giving out funds for farmers. It's a good one to give out trainings for farmers. It's a good one to give out hybrid seedlings for farmers. But then, let it not be only a paperwork, but then let it not be evident even in the agricultural sector and also on the streets of Nigeria, all across the federation. Let's know that there's a drop in price of food supplies, okay? But then, farmers are doing their best to make sure that they do what they have to do to feed the people. The government is also trying their best, but then the government should be more sincere in their approach to disbursement of funds to the real farmers, okay? And seedlings and all that will help increase our productivity and increase our food supply, increase our demand supply, increase our supply for food, okay? And also help amplify the value chain to make sure that our products, if not exported to the US, but we can export to other African countries, the likes of Ghana, Tunisia, Togo, and the likes, and we can hand out which we are looking for. But then we are in food crisis right now, but we are coming out of food crisis. That is something that is sure and is guaranteed. Another thing I want the government to also do for us in this regard is to look at, now we are entering the wet season, which is the rainy season, okay? There are some states that are flood-prone states. So don't disburse funds and seedlings to farmers in those areas that are flood-prone, because so that we have a case, you give them seedlings, you give them money, they go into the farm and plant, and at the end of the day, heavy flood comes and wash away both the seedlings and all that they've planted. And that will just go down the drain and becomes a waste.
All right.
Okay.
Now, John, let me interrupt you a little bit, and because of time, so I can ask you this question. Now, subsistence farming has been the way of life of a lot of people over the decades. And if we have to see agriculture as a business and not just a way of life, then something drastic has to be done. And that calls to the issue of farmers pulling their resources together, pulling ideas together to be a little more innovative and creative with being technological instead of remaining where they are and asking government to come to their aid. What do you say?
What I will say to what you have said to me is very simple. Technology requires money, requires technical know-how, requires expertise. And all of that is lacking. So what we need to do is not to only increase our technological know-how, not only to increase our training capacity for our farmers, not only to make sure that there are incentives for farmers, okay, but then there is a large role the government can play. The government is huge in this regard, Mike. I can say that to you again and again. The government is huge. The government is powerful. So when the government is coming into this thing with all that they have, the people have no choice than to move to the government terms and conditions. Mind you, agriculture is just gaining the momentum it ought to gain over the decades. But then we are still trying our best to make sure that more people come into the sector, okay? There are more technological know-how, more trainings, and all that we have to make sure that we have the productivity we are looking for. So the government on their part, everything will still fall back on the shoulder of the government. The farmers have little or nothing to do because the government is the highest employer of labor. So the government should be the highest off-taker of farm produce. The government should be the one giving trainings to farmers so that we can increase our food supply and food production and capability. Then for farmers on their own to come in together is good. That's why we have cooperatives, we have farmers associations, we have farmers forum, unlike the rice people too. Do you understand? So all of these things are there. But do you know that age-wise is also another thing that we're also looking at?
Oh, yeah.
Some people have been farming for over the years and they are old, okay? The younger ones are coming, so there should be a way that is a linkage between the old and the young, because the old might not really understand the technological know-how better than the young people, right? So there should be a way there's a linkage between the old and the young, and then we can all move together. We are young, we are energetic, we are vibrant, we are brilliant, we are innovative, and we can do all of that. But the old people cannot do that. So there should be a way for us to collaborate, young farmers and old farmers, to show that we work hand in hand together.
All right, John. Thank you so much, John. It's really good to know how energetic, and I can see the energy there this morning. Thank you very much for your time on the program.